What up, naughty steppers? It's Connor Whitmore here again with another review for you on the Nawtystep channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new self-released album from Teminite, Uprising. Sam Norris, aka Teminite, is back with his second full-length LP and first since 2016. A producer with arguably the biggest claim of any to outright musical prowess in the dubstep scene. With a classical background and upbringing, player of multiple instruments and keen to incorporate that expertise into his dubstep at every opportunity. Creator of some genuinely fantastic tracks over the last couple of years, from solo singles like Cecil Pavlova, Beast Mode and Animal, to collaborations with the likes of Panda Eyes and Chime, not to mention several with vocalist Sonar. A pairing that I find to be one of the most powerful in electronic music, and if you want a bit more detail on just why I think that, then check out this video. Norris's style being a near uncontrollably larger-than-life one in several ways. Seriously invigorated, energized BROSTEP, full to the brim with both good feeling and ravenous might. Almost beyond comprehension in terms of the feelings it inspires when listening to it, somewhere between pure exaltation and immeasurable terror. The former arising through his incredible solos, melodies and chord patterns across a wide variety of electrified synths, and the latter through his assortment of unforgiving BROSTEP growls, tears, snarls, saws, whatever you want to call them. And with Uprising, we get Norris's first multi-track project since 2017's tremendous three-part EP, Rally the Troops alongside Sonar. With 2018 seeing Norris spread the release of the Uprising album over multiple months and 2 tiers, which I personally have had a very difficult time with. Because for those that don't know, I like to hear an album completely fresh from beginning to end without hearing any singles that have been released beforehand. So it's definitely been a bit of a patience game with this project for yours truly, but having listened to it in its entirety a fair few times now, I can say that my god, the wait was worth it. Uprising is evidence once again of the fact that Teminite's style, this titanic blend of melody and dubstep, is up there with the most insane in bass music full stop. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, for one, it's insane because the music itself in design is wild and verges on madness. But it's also a comment on the ambition of it, infusing melody and dubstep in this outrageously organic way. Things that on paper have little compatibility, yet when put in the hands of Teminite, the two blossom in unison, and this latest collection is evidence of that once more. And I need to be honest here, there is so much going on and available to take in that exploring the minute details of it becomes an almost pointless task. Meaning more so that it comes down to singling out specific moments, celebrating the turning points that elevate it beyond the general level of excellence evident from track 1 to 10. Which I think I will establish at this point. The base level of this album is ridiculously high and hardly lets up from start to finish. So, which are the moments that wow me from the Uprising album? There are several, but how's about we start with the very beginning itself? Reminiscent of the dubstep supergroup Destroyed, with this daunting overlord opening speech, inviting us to search the endless possibilities of our minds and rise above the stars. In a way misleading considering the general elation of Teminite's music, yet he succeeds this with an epic, scintillating introductory sequence to truly remind us who we're listening to. Not to mention the album's first dose of dubstep, helter-skelter, robotic, earthy and skittish, with magnificent switch-ups in the progressions of both drops to really set the album on fire from the off. Further along, the first drop in track 4, Party Time, is some of the best dubstep I've heard in 2018, hands down. Starting with these rapid, climbing, biting notes atop a thumping backdrop, gnashing at everything in their path, and all the well-crafted evolutions they go through. The breakdowns here defying belief in their adventure and daring, taking the timing of everything involved to another level with so many different moments of impact. Defying belief because the switch-ups from drop to drop are always so unexpected, yet end up having just as much control, if not more, in comparison. This is also evident in tracks 6 through 8 in taking over from the jazzy, funky vibes left by the 5th cut standing tall. The dubstep in track 6, Make Me alongside Said, initially lacks feeling comparatively, but unsurprisingly this seriously picks up as the song progresses. My favourite part here being the way in which the drums prepare us perfectly for a change in the second drop, and my oh my, do we get one. This drastic flip in terms of how the synths are placed, more staggered and spaced out to make for a more enduring listening experience, so considered, the energy is off the chain throughout. Worth mentioning too here that the intro in this track is a very nice difference from the Uprising norm, delicate and light, animated and sprightly. I could speak similarly for the following collab with Evil Wave Rattlesnake, the intro of which is enchanting with its dramatic, Arabian-like intro and build. Dubstep-wise, moreover, there are similarities to be had, in that it's slightly messy to begin with, but ramps up with these utterly mind-boggling scattergun notes. My favourite part here being those gritty progressions, the tricksy, tripled sounds getting right under your skin and crawling through it, reminiscent of a producer like Fed Up. Once again, an amazing array of sounds on show here, taking your attention in so many different directions, and that's before I get into any notions of musicality. But that, I feel, is where Monster with Chime and Sonar comes in most, as the album embarks on its final stage. From the grand, New Horizon electric synth opening, to some of the musical directions taken by Sonar in his opening vocal. Don't hurt. Oh, that just gets me right in the feels whenever I hear it. The way that all three join forces in the builds, so genuine and pure, the dreamy bop of the interlude from 2 minutes 36, and then the outro, oh my. A true moment of inspiration, this thrilling development putting the rest of the track in perspective, the musical direction is fantastic, brings it to the most frenetic of closes. And yes, I can hear you saying it, I've got this far without discussing the dubstep in this track. And I talked earlier about the dubstep in this album firing off in all directions, and in Monster we get that in abundance with Chime's added influence. At least on first release, the first drop being playful, manic and ferocious all in one, the second taking after that as a scaled mutation of its predecessor. Gotta mention those vibrant, flavoursome jabs in the second drop too. Sensational! But the progressions I feel are so much more controlled and purposeful in terms of what they're delivering that the spontaneity of the original releases is highlighted even more. So it has its wackier moments and its more directed ones, but fundamentally a collaboration is meant to be a load of musical fun between artists, and it certainly sounds like that. Also, shouts go to Sonar on this tune for his incredibly imagistic lyrics, his tale of not wanting to become a monster, holding truth with his struggles to keep his anger in check in real life. The track, however, that offers the most for me from beginning to end has to be the third number, A New Dawn, which oozes class not in moments but from front to back, a whirlwind journey through Teminite's mind across the 5-minute 24 runtime. It's from the very start here that I don't feel dubstep music has given me this kind of feeling in a long time. This dainty, pin-prick intro turned dark and metal-driven, an irresistible musical trajectory here that seems like some sort of pact with the devil. The guitar having a definite menace to it, luring you further and further into its depths as the riveting beat chugs away underneath. As it progresses, we get a better insight into the truer nature of the track, with this snappy, upbeat vocal leading into the dubstep. which isn't my favourite on the album ideas wise, yet it's so well fitted to the bouncy, quick tempo vibe of the song, expertly complementing its general energy. Importantly, moreover, the positioning of sounds is spot on here, with emphasis lent to every single one, giving them all that exceptional definition and snap. The bits that really get me in these drops though are the electric flashes at the end of each section. Absolutely magical in both sound and note direction, simultaneously mysterious and revealing, creating this dystopian fantasy right in front of our very eyes. And the brief piano interlude after the first drop, the breaks in it, the ticks in the background, impeccably assembled. However, lest all this effusive description distract from the lower points that Uprising offers up, because there are a few across the 10 tracks. Sticking with the outright musical side of things, whilst I find tracks 5 and 9 to be undoubtedly necessary for this album, I feel they have more outstanding weaker aspects than stronger ones. Standing Tall with Jonah Hitchens is a brilliantly funky midway tune, from the guitars to the talk box, the midsection and the jazzy breaks at the end. But Hitchens' vocal lies right at the forefront, and although its general feel is wonderfully spirited and full of life, the lyrics do come across as slightly corny, cheesy, or a variation on the two. As we are reminded again and again that we've got to live this crazy life, he's clearly having fun, but it's almost too happy to translate into real life, quite frankly. In the penultimate song, Crushing on You, Georgia Denham's vocal dances over the future bass beat effortlessly, guiding us through with a real warmth and kindness. But it moves from one section to another too quickly, I feel, with no moments of reflection and little sense of body, evidenced by the way that it opens up with the chorus vocal. Yet, in essence, it is sweet and magical, and the way that all the sounds play off each other in the drops is one of the album's most mesmeric parts. I kind of feel like the vocal sample in Party Time has to be addressed. I think it's to be taken lightly and adheres to the party vibe. Others will find it cheap. It will split opinion, so the less said about it, the better, I think. Reverting back to the heavier stuff though, the second drops in both Party Time and Rattlesnake I find to be less attractive to others on Uprising. The main feature in the former being the stomping, tearing sounds that are just a bit too abrasive and out of place, almost trying too hard to make something happen. And in Rattlesnake, the second drop is too mechanical, hardly any feeling to this section, these sounds being merely blurted out more than anything. Still though, I return to that idea of bass level excellence, and ultimately there are ample touches in both examples here to ensure they're still very good drops, just slightly less so in the Uprising context. And in saying all I've said so far, I've come to realise, in noticing that there are 2 songs left to address, that Teminite has 3 different types of track up his sleeve. Those that are more outright dubstep, those that are more outright musical, and then those that lie somewhere in between, and that's what we get with the second track, State of Mind, which follows a charming introduction with a stunning electric sequence before we get the first glimpse of Norris's talk box usage. Somewhere between Daft Punk and 24 Karat Magic, but soaked in colour, stacked with emotion and feeling, completely overwhelms you in the best way possible. The dubstep here is understated, using brutal sounds in a characterful way. There's a saxophone solo and a grand outro. It's just a very picturesque track. And drawing things to a close, we have Ascent, which completely took me by surprise on my first listen of Uprising, but not for reasons you would expect. Because it's actually a track that's been out for several years, a standalone single that was meant to be on Norris's Firepower collection, but which has found a home on Uprising. A classic and one of my undoubted favourites of his, the infectious lead melody, the storytelling aspect of it, it's musically driven, grungy Teminite in full flow. Again, never going overboard with the dubstep, using solo moments to hone in on the musical side. Not the epic finale we could have had with this album, but still entirely fitting as a hearty mix of his two main approaches. But taking all of that into account, where exactly does that leave us in wrapping up my thoughts on Uprising generally? I think it's clear here that we have not only a fantastic producer, but a fantastic musician also. Someone that knows inherently how to infect the heaviness of his production with all the skill and talent he has as a multi-instrumentalist. It's pushing boundaries in terms of both hard work and artistry, and if evidence is needed on that front, just check any video of him using these tools, from the talkbox to the saxophone, piano, guitar, whatever. An artist that, on top of all of this, has stayed true to his signature sound through the years and, resultantly, established himself as completely unique. There is no one that sounds like him, and in all honesty, I'd go as far as to say that with this album, he is saving dubstep somewhat, reminding us of the beauty and wildness of it beyond one-note headbang culture, that which has somewhat sapped the life out of the genre in recent years, and which we have all grown accustomed to. The personality of it, the adventure of it, the cohesion and togetherness of it, despite so much going on at all times, the ambition is unparalleled, and I feel like I've hardly scratched the surface. There are tracks that I prefer to others here, no doubt, but I couldn't say there are any that I straight up don't enjoy. Each one has enough moments to keep me fully engaged and enthused throughout. Some of which, furthermore, are pretty long, but they never get boring. The sense of journey and development keeps you fully locked in with every track, each with its own character unravelling in front of you. And it's that duration that signals it out as an album more so than others, stopping any detractors who may say this is more a collection of bangers firmly in their tracks. Of course, there are bangers here, it's a significant aspect of Norris's style, but I'd still say its sense of story and wonder is its most pervading factor, that which leaves you wanting more. Which speaks of how multifaceted it is, through light and dark, colourful and brutal, classical and electronic. It really is all you could want in its combination of ideas. What's more, I screamed yes at several points during listening to this album for the first time, and honestly, if that's not enough to tell you that it's a special piece of work to you, then I'm not sure what is. So long live Teminite and his approach, because this goes far beyond it being just a breath of fresh air in the current dubstep climate. More, it's a reminder of exactly what dubstep is capable of, the scope and potential it has as a style of music, and it's through artists like Teminite that we can realise this most. Now, in terms of my favourite from Uprising, then I think I would have to go with A New Dawn. The most complete of the 10 for me, offering the most from start to finish across all its sections. As I said before, just oozes class in all respects. The track I'd most readily put up there with my all-time favourites from him, with Uprising, Party Time, Make Me, Rattlesnake and Monster, not too far behind in all honesty. And in terms of recommendations, if you enjoyed this album, as I said, he is pretty unique stylistically, but for more melodic dubstep wonderfulness, look no further than Chime, Xylent, and Olivers. And so that is that for another review on the Nawtystep channel, this time of the new self-released album from Teminite, Uprising. Thank you very much, and as always, for tuning in. Be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on Uprising. What did you guys make of it? Do you have a favourite track from the 10? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hitting the notification bell along the way. For some other melodic dubstep reviews on the Nawtystep channel, check out the link next to my head somewhere. Don't forget to like and follow Nawtystep across social media, all of which is linked, including those recommendations, in the description box down below. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know guys, so be sure as always to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.